Feedback Learnex. English forever.
Welcome everyone to this week's edition of Feedback Learnex. I'm Marilyn Delacruz, and we're here in an amazing place, right, Miss Paulina?
Right, thank you, Miss Marilyn. So here we are at Art Cafe El Cuento Ruso. It's a beautiful place with a lot to see, so
it's a little piece of Russia within Mexico City. So today we're going to talk about everything that has to do with architectural jewelry, amazing locations in Russia, a little piece of Russia physically here in Mexico. So today I'm going to start off by talking about what is the Kremlin. So Kremlin, and you hear the name and everyone knows that name. It's located in Moscow, in the center of Moscow. It is known as the White House of Russia. The White House of Russia, and it was built in the 1400s, a little bit before Columbus had his first sail. So it was built with the intention of being the center, the most important building in Russia. And it really kind of sets itself out for its architecture and what it includes. It has 4 cathedrals, 4 churches, a lot of parks inside of it. It's closed off. You can't always go into it and visit it, but it's for tourists. The outside of it is accessible, and it's something out of this world when you see the inside of it. The paintings that are inside, the gardens that are included inside of Kremlin. It is something really honestly amazing when you take a look at the architecture and that time period when it was built. Miss Paulina, enough about Kremlin. What are you going to tell us about?
I am going to tell you about the Red Square. This place is actually located besides the Kremlin. It is located between the Kremlin and the commercial area of Moscow. It is the center of Moscow, as from the Red Square there are many streets that are the principal avenues of Moscow. This place is also very interesting and very beautiful because it is composed by several buildings and gardens, such as the St. Basil's Church Cathedral. It also contains a lot of history because it serves as the mausoleum of Lenin.
Okay.
And it's one of the most important places to visit in Russia, as it is also listed as World Heritage by the UNESCO.
Very interesting, Miss Paulina. So as we're going kind of, I guess, traveling through what is Moscow and the center of Moscow, also located inside the Red Square is St. Basil's Cathedral. So St. Basil's Cathedral was built in the 1500s, and it's the most emblematic and the most representative building in Russia, in Moscow specifically. It's the one you look at and you think you're looking at Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. It's got all the nice colors and the different, looks like candy on top of a castle. So the architecture was built very specific to what is the Russian culture and the colors that you find in Russia. So it was intended to kind of be that representation. Maybe not religiously, it's now a museum, and so there's not really any religious practices that happen there, unless you, I'm sure, pay a lot of money and kind of say, hey, I want to get married in St. Basil's Cathedral. Well, that's it for this segment. Don't forget to stay tuned. We're going to keep talking about all the architectural jewelry and amazing things that are in Russia. See you in a second.
5001-9642 Feedback Learnex.
Psst, psst, ¿qué es Learnex?
Workouts,
Interbranches,
massive activities,
Learning Tours, e-Learnex.
special activities.
Descubre, vive, siente en inglés en Learnex. Aprende inglés en Learnex. Inglés para siempre.
5001-9642 Feedback Learning.
So, welcome back to Feedback Learnex. Here we are at this beautiful cafe, El Cuento Ruso. We're talking about beautiful places to visit while you're in Russia. In the last segment, we talked about some places to visit in Moscow, but now we're going to talk about the second largest city in Russia, St. Petersburg. So, Miss Marilyn, what do you have to tell us about St. Petersburg?
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the church, or the sacred church with spilled blood, or in spilled blood. It's a church that has a lot of interesting facts. The architecture is similar to that of the one we talked about in last segment, but the very distinctive things are that its tall towers are first made in St. Petersburg. My apologies. And it's interesting. It's the colors that it has in it are also. But something really interesting about all of that structure is that after World War II, or during World War II, there was a bomb that landed on the tallest tower, and that bomb stayed there until it was discovered maybe in the 19th century, more or less, late 19th century. So it was discovered and it had never gone off. So they kind of view it as a place where miracles happen, a place where you can go to see miracles happen, and so it's an interesting location, and the architecture is out of this world as well.
So another important and beautiful place to visit in St. Petersburg is the Peterhof Palace. This place is located around 30 kilometers from St. Petersburg. It's a big and amazing place that is considered the Russian Versailles. It was built under the orders of Peter the Great, an emperor of Russia. This place is composed by several palaces, museums, churches. In it, there are many beautiful gardens and also fountains and even waterfalls. So it's a must go in St. Petersburg, because people there it's just impressive to be there. Also, it is considered one of the World Heritage by the UNESCO. So, what do you think, Ms. Marilyn?
I think it's awesome. I would love to go and visit. All these places that we're talking about today are super interesting, but there's one left in St. Petersburg, right?
Yes, that is true. The State Hermitage is a complex of buildings that is one of the largest cultural and artistic museums that exist in this world. This collection and history started with the gainings of Catherine II, Catherine the Great, an empress, the first empress of Russia. This place is considered one of the largest and historical world's collections. It has works from Leonardo da Vinci, from Michelangelo. So in this place, you can see a lot of work of art. You can also admire architecture, because it's composed by several buildings, and you can also see the history of art as its collection starts from several centuries ago. So, what do you think about St. Petersburg?
I think it's also an interesting location. It's awesome that you don't have to just visit Moscow when you're in Russia. And I think it's amazing. It's an awesome place that we should definitely visit.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Paulina, all of our viewers here at Feedback Learnex, we've come to the very end of this segment, and we've learned so much. We've learned about architecture, about different buildings and places to visit in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. Remember, we're here at El Arte Café, Cuento Ruso, and Miss Paulina, it's time to go, but before...
I think we should order something. This place has a very big variety of traditional Russian cuisine, So I think I am going to order this one, the piroski, that it's some kind of bun filled with different fruits and meals. So what do you think? What are you going to order?
I think I was looking through the menu and I'm going to order the serniki, and it's cheese with fried dough and kind of like it's got little redone cheese and it looks juicy and delicious. So I think that's what I'm going to order.
So thank you very much for watching us this time. See you at the next time. And this is Big Bad Learnex.
Don't forget, tune in next Thursday at 9:15 p.m. See you guys next week.
Feedback Learnex. English Forever. Estamos en sintonía. Feedback Learnex. English Forever. Feedback Learnex.